Hey everybody, this is Kelly, Flip with Kelly coming at you today. How's everybody doing today? Today I wanted to talk to you about title companies. So, as far as title companies go, you want to find, for wholesaling, you want to find a title company that is investor friendly, works with assignment of contract, works with wholesalers. So how do you find these title companies? Well, in my area, there's only one title company that really does, in my local area, that does assignment of contract, wholesaling, and I found them by going to a REIA club, and I just asked at the REIA club, who's the title company to be dealing with, and they just told me because they'd used them before. So, but I also went on Google and I found them that way. Now here's a little tip when you call a title company. Sometimes the lady at the desk that answers is not going to know the correct answer to your question. So consider the source when you make that phone call to the title company. Sometimes you got to probe a little deeper, because the secretary might not know what you're talking about. She might tell you no when the answer is yes. They do assignments. So, but yeah, and then the other thing, and you can kind of find this out organically, but it's better to, ask some questions up front. A lot of it's going to be the paperwork, the way they operate, and you'll kind of get to know this over time. But, maybe have them look over your contract, maybe discuss it a little bit. Otherwise, you got to kind of figure it out as you go. And usually it's not anything too major, but, you got a seller involved, you got a buyer involved, you've got prorations involved, you've got deposits involved, you've got timelines involved. So just kind of make sure you're keeping a really close eye on that. Cross your T's, dot your I's. And there are other title companies in my area that you could still do like a bird dog type of deal. But that's going to be letting your buyer be in control. They're going to go to the other title company that does not do assignments, and basically they just got to pay you like a bird dog fee without doing an actual assignment of contract. When I first got started, I did do, well, not when I first got started, but I've done that, but I have now switched out of that because I don't like the buyer being in control, even though, on that particular deal, I did make $10,000. And if you're dealing with legit people, then, you can get paid and everything's good. But, and if you get a truly wholesale, then you don't necessarily want the buyer being in control. This is where you find a deal and you and the buyer have a mutual agreement that he's got to pay you like a $10,000 bird dog fee. But in wholesaling, ideally what you want to do is you want to lock up a contract on a place and then have this buyer and that buyer give you the highest bid, because you're like the auctioneer, you're like the middleman. So otherwise, like in that particular deal, I made $10,000, but maybe I could have made 15, 20. Could have also went the other way to where I made nothing. But so I guess, ain't gotta complain about $10,000. But yeah, it's you can Google the title companies and just call them up. You can find out about them at the REIA club. sometimes the speakers, the people that organize the meeting will know the answer to your question, or possibly somebody else in the room will, if they give you a chance to ask questions to the group at the meeting. That's how I found out. And these other title companies are good too. It's just, I mean, I've done deals prior to wholesaling to where another title company will do like land contracts or subject to, but they wouldn't do assignment of contract because it's in this area it was really heavy for realtors that at that particular title company, so they had a lot of loyalty to the realtors in the area. And they did a land contract for me. I mean, the house I'm living in was done with the land contract. So and now we got like a lot of equity in the house, but so not all title companies will do assignment of contracts. Some are maybe better for creative. In this area, I went with land contract because that's what this area and that title company and that attorney had done many of those. They drew up the contract for cheap, and yeah, so it's just and I mean, there's probably other ways to find title companies as well, but that's how I found mine. And we've actually been using 3 title companies because I do deals virtually as well. So my partner knows of her title companies, and obviously now I know of the title company over there, like in Milwaukee, to where, because we've used them, so now I know of a few different title companies over there. And then some of our sellers are located in another area of Wisconsin, and then that title company does certain areas, so then we'll tend to use them. And they all have their strengths, good points. One of the most important things that I think is cool about title companies is if you can get the title company to where it's close to the seller, so like if they want to drive to it for their convenience, they can stop in, brick and mortar, belly to belly, walk in there and deal with them face to face. That's what I like to do. But yeah, as you work with these title companies, you'll realize that what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do, but that's one of the most important things for me is I try to get the title company that's closer to the seller. Another way to do it is to kind of consolidate and use maybe one title company for most of your transactions. But I still like the idea of using a title company that's more local to the seller. And another way to do it is to maybe not give one title company all the business. Maybe you can kind of give a little bit here and a little bit there. So it's all going to kind of depend on your situation. If it's more of a monopoly and you feel like, hey, I'm going to kind of divide up the business a little bit, just to kind of keep them chomping at the bit a little bit. So kind of feel it out. This is all a little bit of an art and a science, and you might like how one title company does things more so than another. They're easier to work with, but I don't know. I personally, I just kind of like catering to the seller because everything is dependent really on the seller. But without the seller, you got no deal in the first place. So if I can get the title company now sometimes we only deal with 3 or 4 title companies, so maybe none of them are really close for that seller to go to. Well, then you can kind of pick your flavor of the week and go with that one. But so yeah, if you want more detailed questions, you can put them down in the comment below, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Dealing with these title companies, I've found different tips and tricks and things that have went good and things that have went a little sideways to where we had to change it and improve. And it's all a learning process, but title companies do a lot of heavy lifting for you. And some of the stuff they will ask you to do yourself, because it's more like you got a relationship with the seller and the buyer on certain things. And I mean, I was involved with a deal one time to where the seller was actually in the middle of a hurricane and got the power knocked out for 5 days, and she literally couldn't turn her own light switch on. And where her neighbors right across the next street over or something, they had power, but she didn't. And for her to get to a printer to do anything, all this stuff was like really hard. And I think the company that she worked for was dealing directly with the result of the hurricane, so you can imagine the pressure was on at work. And I mean, I literally, I was at work, self-employed, and I literally have to drop what I was doing for, like, sometimes it was a good 2 hours straight, an hour here, 2 hours there, and literally I would be the communicator between the seller and the title company, because they had a hard time getting a hold of her for her to respond. And literally texting, or maybe it was emailing back and forth, and I'd get a hold of the seller, which was hard to do for the title company because she wasn't responding. She had all this stuff going on, no power, and relaying messages back and forth and back. And then the title company, it was on a Friday, it was supposed to close, and they shot me an email saying, yeah, we don't think this is going to close on time. And I'm like, shoot, and I'm just texting like a madman, texting back and forth, and then they came back with, oh, the seller got a hold of us, because I was texting back and forth and making it happen. And luckily we did get it closed. Like a half an hour later, they're like, yeah, I think we are going to close now. But for a title company to say, we don't think we're going to be able to do her, and then, so that was some really good news. That one there was about a $20,000 assignment. So title company is a major component of what we do as wholesalers, and so treat them like gold. And I really gotta do more for my title companies. I'm really nice. I try to do what I do, and but I would like to actually get them something, even if it's a little something. And I really haven't gotten to that stage yet. But title companies are just wonderful. So treat them like gold. And they very, very important player. So share, like, and subscribe. You got any value out of this video. And this is Kelly. Have yourself a blessed 2026. Smash the heck out of that like button and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.